Greetings and welcome to yet another special episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. This time around we're looking at yet more mods of Morrowind Modding Madness, and as always I'm your host Elf Guy. And today we have the 4 quest mods released by each team for a quest mod challenge. Each team had to build and release a quest mod of some sort in just a single week, and while obviously this was a very challenging category, each of the teams managed to release their mods on time, making 4 new quest mods for you to play through. And as always, before we get things sorted, you'll find download links for all the mods shown down in the video description below, along with a link to our online poll where you can vote for your favourite quest mods from Morrowind Modding Madness. Now, starting out, we're going to get things going with Andrano Ancestral Tomb Remastered by Team Wretched Netch, aka Greatness 7, MatthewTheBagel, and VvardenfellTribez. And for those of you who've played the main quest before, you may remember that your second official quest is to get some information about the Neravine cult from a member of the Mages Guild, but she wants you to do a small favour first, simply grabbing a scroll from the Andrano Ancestral Tomb. And, well, this mod changes that quest quite a bit. Starting with how you get into the tomb, as you can no longer simply, waltz right in through the front door, as it's locked with a note left by a member of the Andrano family, letting their other relatives know that they'll need to pick up the key from Plesiad nearby, and this will take you to the halfway tavern, where you'll find the person who now holds the key, but, they won't just give it up willingly to just anyone, and you may have to, find an alternative means of acquiring it. Either way, once you get inside, you'll find that the Andrano Ancestral Tomb has been completely changed from the vanilla version, redesigned practically from the ground up, and largely expanded with new areas, enemies, and, lots of beautiful detail and clutter. And truthfully, this is probably, more of a dungeon mod than a quest mod, though it does also extend the quest here quite a bit with, tons of new details, background documents, and even a few new choices that you can make. That really fleshes out these characters, but more on that later. As always, I'm going to try my best not to, spoil anything, since it's no fun to, play a quest mod when you already know how it's going to end and everything. But, just sort of moving on, Andrano Ancestral Tomb has a lot more hostiles for you to face now, though these are, pretty weak opponents, so you should be able to, take down fairly easily, starting around level 1 or 2 when you are most likely to be starting this quest. So it really won't be much of a challenge, especially not for, higher level characters, but they will still, put up quite a bit of a fight, or they'll, try and swarm you in some of these larger rooms. And one of the things to go on to notice here is that there's a lot of corpses, pretty much everywhere, from past adventuring bands and mercenaries, perhaps hired to look, after something in this tomb. Who can say for sure? What's really cool though is that they all have, unique death poses, which lends a really nice, immersive and atmospheric quality to this mod. And, overall, I gotta say that the atmosphere and dungeon design here is, really top notch. This is an excellent overhaul that takes a previously, boring and same oldish Velothi tomb, and it makes it a really unique experience. And, like I said earlier, the tomb has also been largely expanded with lots of new rooms and chambers, and the tomb itself is now actually divided into 3 interiors instead of, the one large interior cell it was before. And this means there's a lot more to explore and fight through before, you'll find the score you need to complete the quest with, making it a much more epic experience on par with, the puzzle box, with a few surprises here and there. And, I'm not going to show off any more though, so as to avoid spoilers. And anyway, up next we have Dreams of the Drunken Mudcrab by Team Green Cow, aka EnclaveKiller, AutoClock, and SC Engineer 99. And this all changes the island a bit, where you find the legendary Mudcrab Merchant, with a bit of a docks platform, some crates and barrels and the like. But unlike in vanilla Morrowind, you can't just, start bartering with the Mudcrab right away. Instead, you have to do a series of 5 quests, helping out the Drunken Mudcrab with a few of his, drunken dreams. And some of these quests are really, quite interesting, involving a lot of unexpected scenarios, like a Fargoth outbreak in Sudanine with dozens of Fargoths running rampant all over town. Apparently Fargoth's unhealthy obsession with rings has finally taken a twisted turn, and he's, started making clones of himself to one day take over Vardenfell, and eventually, I imagine, the world. And to say the least, this is perhaps a bit more on the comedic side of things in terms of, quest lines, but it's still a lot of fun to play through. And other quests will involve you, gathering an assortment of items like the flesh of the Drunken Mudcrab's fellow crabs, as he has a frenzy of cannibalistic desires, or exploring a new dungeon and fighting off waves of undead mudcrabs as you descend towards an epic, boss battle at the end. These are just a few of the quests involved here, and, I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything, so I'm going to avoid showing off the rest of the quests here. You'll just have to, play it for yourself, but keep in mind there are a few requirements that this mod has, such as the newest version of MWSC, And anyway, this does make it a bit harder to get access to the Mudcrab's 10,000 bartering gold, since he is the richest merchant in the entire game. And, this mod does act as a bit of a, sort of balance, because you have to actually work at, getting access to the Mudcrab instead of just getting access right away. And our next mod is a bit of a small one, the Forgotten Legend, a Helm of Turhin overhaul by Team Cutie Kagouti, aka R0, Digmen, and Povuholo. And basically, this is another quest overhaul. Only, this one is for the official Bethesda plugin, Helm of Turhin mod, that Bethesda originally released as a standalone free mod on their website back when Morrowind first released. And with this mod, you'll now find a concerned woman in Ardvalorthi who's looking for her missing sons. The two have apparently gone off in search of their father, who went after some lost artifact in, some Daedric shrine in the Guars region, and it's your job to try and find them. And you'll find the two brothers waiting outside the ruins, and, they'll actually follow you inside to try and figure out what happened to their missing father. And inside you'll find a pretty typical Daedric ruin, though, with perhaps a few more corpses lying around than is, typically normal for these sort of places, including eventually the corpse of a Raydoran warrior, the father of these two that are, following you. So you can ultimately, choose to get revenge by doing a small boss battle with one of the two brothers at your side. It's a fairly simple and straightforward quest, really. And in the end, your reward for doing all this is the artifact Helm of Turhin, which you can see here. It's a rather nice looking helm that also comes with a rapier, which is a copy of one of the rapiers included with Team Cutie Kagouti's previous mod, and issue of Thrust. And these two items have some, pretty nice stats to them, so it's a pretty good reward for, a fairly straightforward quest line. And finally, we have Legacy of Odiil by Team Flying Guars, aka TheDrunkenMudcrab and MementoMoritius. And this mod basically adds an old man living by himself in a small shack outside of the central portion of Dragonfell. And he's a rather interesting character with quite a story to tell, with lots of background and personal history about the twin blades, Chillrend and Flamerend. And before he passes, this fellow wants to, see his legacy. The legendary blade of Flamerend passed on to a worthy warrior. His second son, a failed mage, is too inept and too stupid to carry the weapon, at least in his estimation. So he's created a challenge that all adventurers are welcome to partake in, to solve a set of riddles that will eventually, lead them to a new dungeon, where they'll face a final set of trials in order to try and obtain Flamerend, as well as half the old man's treasure. And each of these riddles is scattered about Vardenfell and Solstheim in, a number of different locations, and a lot of these riddles will take, some serious time to decipher, because they aren't, always obvious. It's really like, just one big treasure hunt that'll take you from one end of Resdain to another. And, for obvious reasons, we won't be, showing where these clues and riddles are, since you'll have to find them on your own, and obviously we don't want to, spoil everything. Having said that though, we can just, go ahead and take a look at the ultimate reward for this quest, the new Blade Flamerend, which you can kind of see here. It's basically the companion to Chillrend, which I believe can be found in Vanilla Blood Moon, though it's been a really long time since I played Blood Moon, so, I can't really remember for sure. But anyway, Flamerend is a red blade with a fire enchant on it, naturally, and it's a pretty nice weapon with a difficult quest to get it. So, it actually fits in rather well with the rest of the game, I would say. And anyway, that wraps up this episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to cast your votes for your favourite quest mods of Morrowind Modding Madness. And I'll see you all in about a week with the last batch of Morrowind Modding Madness mods. So, just stay tuned for that.